Talk this morning, we are focusing on a read that tackles an issue that has been on tongues of many South Africans for decades, and that is the physical and emotional absence of fathers in children's lives across the country. Our author this morning, Charley Pietersen, titled his third book, Growing Up Without a Father, Are we a Fatherless Nation? That's the question. And in this offering, he walks us through practical steps of addressing the subject matter. Charley, good morning. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning.
Okay, so you've written a book from your own experiences,
Yes.
but you've also accounted for other people's experiences.
Yes.
And let me ask you this question. Are we a fatherless nation?
Yes, we are indeed, because if one look, I'll just take you back to when God created Adam. So God created Adam, and Adam was there, and for Adam to be there and for Adam really to come into action, Eve was called as a helper. And even that time, if one look, God said multiply, subdue, replenish. So it means that we need to function as fathers. We need to function as a family. And if one look at what the devil did, is that the devil know that if he can tackle the father, and cripple the father in the house, then the whole system falls apart. So what is key? We are a fatherless nation because it is important for fathers to stand up. And even with the blessings, you find out that, a father is the only person that can really bless a child. And if you look at the absence of fathers, I grew up without a father. And what I picked up, it's a part of streetwiseness, what the bras were doing, and what other fathers were doing, and also what my mother was doing. So you'll find out that you are actually confused, if you grew up without a father.
Sometimes, and I think at a societal level, and I think maybe a little bit more now, we're wisening up to it.
Yeah.
But the role of the father has been incredibly downplayed within that unit structure. And so you will find that a lot of kids grow up, and a lot of kids grow up with this term called daddy issues.
Yes.
How do we make sure that young men growing up and becoming fathers don't repeat that cycle of an absenteeism within their family structure?
It's a generational thing that comes on for years, and I think us as fathers now must model that. And also I always said, in the older days, in the past, you'll find that when a father is absent, then the community of the father of next door will be taking the role of the father in that house. So, when
some kind of guidance.
That's it. So we need mentorship, you need, like, I grew up without a father, and I'll always make an example, I took Ntate Molemela of Bloem Celtic as my role model as a father, because I looked up at certain men that really made an impact in life. So there was a lot of role models for me, and said, I want to raise my kids according to how Ntate Molemela is raising his kids, or how this father is raising his kids. So it's important that fathers now, and especially the youngsters now that are coming up, needs to abstain, from having sex at early ages, because we made that mistake, Our fathers make that mistake because it's a generational thing. If you look at the Bible, that if you don't cut off a generational curse, it's going to repeat itself over and over. So we need to stand up and say, enough is enough.
You tell your story in the book, and you tell the story of other people within the context of this book.
Yes.
What was your story? Did you know your father? Did you those people, when you talked to them, did they know their fathers?
Nope. My story, when I turned 21, I told my mother, now I need to go and look my father up. I didn't know him. He was not there at all. And even, when I arrived at his door, he didn't recognize me as his son. I asked him, I took a friend of mine with me and said, you need to come and help me, because he was staying 60 km from where I was living. So we went there. So he was confused. He didn't know which one is his son. And I even asked him, his name was also Charlie. I said, Charlie, tell me later now, do you have other kids? He said, no, I think there's a lot of you. And I asked him, if you have to pass away now, who will bury you? He said, no, you, because you're the only one that came and looked for me.
Wow.
So there's a lot of fathers there, there's a lot of sperm donors out there that don't even know that their kids exist.
Charlie, we're in the last minute of our interview. What do you want when people are sitting around the table, what do you want this book to add to the conversation, or what do you want them to take away from this book? Where should we start this conversation?
This conversation should start in the house. Mothers must start telling their kids, who their fathers are. Sometimes they don't tell the kids who their fathers are. Single mothers must start giving their kids the opportunity to meet up with their fathers. You know, because sometimes other mothers restrict the kids because of they don't pay maintenance. We need to stop that. A kid needs to know who is my father. And us as a nation needs to stand up again and be fathers. And, you know, look at the church now. Who's in the church? Mothers. The fathers are sleeping around. They are at home. They are watching maybe Portugal against France. You know, they don't go to church. We know that Portugal is going to win, but they don't go to church. So fathers, brothers, we need to stand up. And I think government must also take the lead and show, you know, that we are not a fatherless nation, but at this stage we are a fatherless nation.
Charley Pietersen, he's our author this morning, talking to us about his third book titled Growing Up Without a Father, Are We a Fatherless Nation? I'm sure you can Google his details to find out where you can get hold of a copy of this thought-provoking read. And let's start this conversation. We're taking a break. Don't go anywhere.